All right, so Nicco Montano stripped of the UFC Flyweight Championship belt. She's been stripped. The UFC learned their lesson this time when it comes to giving out these belts. They stripped her quickly. They stripped her quickly. They gave her time to come in and get the fight done. Once the fight was booked, I think that they were really expecting it to go through, just like I was. But with this hospitalization thing, you have to strip that person. You have to strip that person. So it's like, I'm glad that the UFC went ahead and stripped her immediately, because people are trying to build their career. Valentina is trying to build her own career. She's not just trying to float around Nicco and follow her around for the better part of a year. So I'm glad that the UFC just went ahead and stripped her. Let Valentina carry on. We've been waiting to see Valentina in the octagon since freaking February. She hasn't fought since February, and that was just a little taste of what we were going to see. Nicco has absolutely just squandered away any chances of her to see like true greatness. Now, granted, yes, she never should have had that belt in the first place. There's no way that somebody with a record of 4-2 should have a championship belt. 4-2, and you've never fought one fight in the UFC. Now your first fight is a championship fight. That just doesn't make any sense anymore. Now it doesn't make any sense anymore because the UFC, now it's really all starting to make sense to me. It really is all. The picture is becoming so much more clear. UFC has degraded women's MMA. The UFC has degraded women's MMA. There were times when they would use tough to bring in a few people who were not over the hill. There are certain people who they have long, lengthy records, but they're over the hill. They're on the decline of their MMA career. They used to bring in people that were on the ups, like that were coming up in their career. I cannot remember how many. So, Carla Esparza. They picked out really good prospects. Carla Esparza. She won tough. Her record, I believe, going into tough was something like 9-8. Either she had a nice lengthy bit of fights. I think it was 7-2 now that I think about it, or 8-2. She had a wrestling background. And she had already had professional fights on a bigger stage with Invicta. Nicco Montano literally came out of the blue. She just came out of the blue, just like a lot of the fighters that they put on this, that they're picking for tough now. They're picking these people out of the blue. 1-0. These people never ever pan out to be anything. Angela Hill came into tough 1-0. That was her tough record. Now, granted, she had a lengthy kickboxing record. But still, 1-0, they need to pick true prospects. Put a couple of them in there, like the Tatiana Suarez. I'm not sure what her record was, but she came in as a wrestling prospect. They stripped Nicco of this belt, and it's about goddamn time. It's about time that they just go ahead and it's okay. It's a vacant belt right now, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with it. I'd rather have it be a vacant belt than have a vacant-headed champion, a vacant-headed fighter, a vacant-hearted fighter holding the belt. This is Germaine Durand to me. Trust me, if Nicco would have actually went in there and fought Valentina, she would have been so scared. She would have hit Valentina like 4, 5, 6, 7 times after the bell. She would have taken it overboard than what GDR did. The coach would have had to rip Nicco off of Valentina after the bell. She would have still been in mad dog mode, because she's so scared. Man, I'm so tired of duckers in women's MMA. I'm so tired of the UFC having degraded women's MMA. There's the elite. There's the elite fighters out there. Chris Cyborg, elite fighter, won't duck nobody. And she's also the best. She literally is also the best fighter. She's very skilled. Then there's the Valentina, also one of the best. Never scared to fight anybody. She's part of that elite. There's another group that's just part of the elite. I do believe that Ketlin will probably get in there and be part of the elite. Jessica Andrade definitely is part of the elite. She will fight at bantamweight. She went and took them L's up at bantamweight. She's not afraid to fight anybody, and she's good. It doesn't take much. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Carla Esparza. It's just fighters that are elite. They're good and they're not afraid of anybody. Amanda Nunes does not go in that category. Amanda is just good. Now we go down and we talk about the freaking Duckers, man. No, actually, I'm not even going to go to the Duckers. The Duckers aren't even going to get that much time. I'm just going to go to the Grinders. And women's MMA, the Grinders, the people who are like, look, I may not be the best. I may not be at the top of the heap, but I'm in this motherfucking heap. And I will compete. I'm going to go in there and I'm not afraid of anybody. I may have to take an L or two, but I'm going in there. Juliana Pena, right? Juliana Pena. You know, there was a time when Kat Zingano was part of the elite heat, but, you know, mentally things kind of broke down for her. But I will put her in this grinding mode. Because she could have very easily said, well, I'm the one of the better fight. She still goes in there and fight whoever they give her. Who else, man? There's a bunch of grinders. Actually, there's a bunch of grinders. Jessica I, grinder. Sarge Eubanks, grinder. All of these people, they're not afraid to fight. Jessie Rose Clark, grinder. Let me think about these strawweights. Alexa Grasso, green as hell, but a grinder. She could have easily ducked Tatiana Suarez. It's just certain people are grinders, certain people are the elite, and then there's the duckers. There are this group of fighters that is just so scared of everything. It's like it's just a fight. We're not telling you to go and help to facilitate peace in the Middle East. Nobody's telling you to do that. We're not telling you to infiltrate ISIS. Oh, infiltrate ISIS and then come back to the CIA and let us know what you found. Well, nobody's telling you to do anything that's actually scary. The fact that we have to say that you're scared to fight somebody, that's childish. You're a fighter. The Duckers, GDR, Jermaine Durandamy, Ducker. Amanda Nunes, Ducker. And now on the list, there's two more people on the list. Nicco is on the list. And the last person that's on that list is Nicco again. So we got Duckers coming in this women's MMA, and it's degrading the sport. It's degrading the sport big time, man. Jermaine Durandamy never should have been able to fight in the UFC. If she did, she needed to fight a nobody. She needed to move her way up the rankings. She shouldn't be able to fight Pennington. What an insult. And then, Amanda Nunes, she is the champion, so she gets to call a few more shots than everybody else, but still, that ducking matter, all of that just made her look like such a little, it's another form of being unprofessional. Let the fight cook. Let the fight marinate. Oh, it's not time yet. Well, why'd you call her out? Nobody asked you to call her out. And Nicco Montano, again, Nicco, you know what? For Nicco, I think they should throw her in there with Valentina Shevchenko. That's the only bout agreement that I want to see her get. Nicco versus Valentina Shevchenko. That's the only bout agreement that I want to see her get. That one or Antonina Shevchenko. That's it. When she comes back to the UFC, I don't want to see her fighting. I don't want to see her fighting anybody. Montana De La Rosa, Jillian. I don't want to see her fighting anybody else. Jessie Rose Clark, nobody else. The only bout agreement that she should get is Valentina Shevchenko or Antonina Shevchenko. You're not ducking the work. And when Nicco Montano, again, the second Nicco who's on the list, when she, the coward-hearted one, when she wants to come in, she's so freaking, she's so scared that she literally put herself in the hospital. I mean, come on. I'll say this, when the second one wants to come back, Valentina Shevchenko or Antonina Shevchenko. So I want to see her fight Valentina first and then Antonina. That's the only way I want to see her back in the UFC. That's it. She has really squandered her chances, and she's also made a mockery of the division. This division is getting off of its feet and it's getting up and running. There's been plenty of fights. We've seen good flyweight fights. All of them actually have been good to me. So we've seen great flyweight matchups. But this is just what they're doing is they're getting the division rolling. Now it's the top. The person at the top now needs to do their part. And that was Nicco, but now I'm glad that it's nobody. I'd rather it be a vacant belt than a vacant-hearted person holding a belt, pretending to be champion, holding up the division. Anyway, shout out to my girl Valentina Shevchenko. I hate that we cannot see her fight today. I hate that we can't see her fight today, seriously. What a shame. What a shame. But anyways, shout out to Valentina, man. She's been staying obviously patient. She's been staying composed. And at this point, it is what it is. It is what it is. They already said that Valentina is the next person to fight for that vacant championship belt. But it's just so upsetting, man. How many fight camps does Valentina have to be in? She's already done 3 camps just for this fight. She's done 3 camps just to train for this fight. 1 fight that never even happened. She's about to get in another training camp. She had to do 2 training camps just to fight lily-livered Amanda Nunes. How many training camps does this girl have to get into? I hope that she's saving her money, man. Well, I know that Valentina is saving her money because she doesn't quite. Her camp is a little bit set up differently than everybody else's camp. She just has like the nomad camp. Her sister, Pavel, they just roll together, man. They're rolling in the trailer and they're just going from state to state, barefooted, fighting wherever the fight feeling comes. I'm down with that. Shout out to Valentina Shevchenko. Shout out to whenever she gets this fight. Shout out to the UFC for stripping Nicco Montano of the UFC Flyweight Championship belt. I would much rather it be a vacant belt.